President Obama campaigning for Hillary Clinton. He says it's a case of sexism if Hillary doesn't win. Roll tape.
You know, there's a reason why we haven't had a woman president before. I want every man out there who's voting to kind of look inside yourself and ask yourself, well, if you're having problems with this stuff, how much of it is, you know, that we're just not used to it? When a guy's ambitious and out in the public arena and working hard, well, that's okay. But when a woman suddenly does it, suddenly you're all like, well, why is she doing that?
I think this requires some commentary. Who better to do that than David Webb, who is with us this morning?
Good morning.
What do you make of that?
Okay, so in 2008, when a black man beat a white woman and became the president of the United States, it wasn't sexism. Why do I mention the color and the gender together? Because back then, if you were black and you went against Obama, you were an Uncle Tom or a House Negro. And if you were white and you went against Barack Obama, you were a racist. Well, now he's turned the table on his own lie and made it so that if you go against Hillary Clinton, you're a sexist. Let me remind Barack Obama of something very important and historical fact. It was white men, especially Republicans, who fought along with the suffragettes and up to President Coolidge, and women got the right to vote. Because Coolidge's wife, Grace, also was a big suffragist, along with Henrietta Wells Livermore and other Republican women. So Barack Obama sells a lie. The first state to give the right to women to vote, Wyoming, under Republican leadership.
I just have the feeling that chucking out these labels, sexist, racist, etc., has lost its bite because they've been overused.
It's lost its bite with independents, but it hasn't lost its bite with people who buy the Democrat line and the progressive line. It's the victimhood. It's the victimology. They've gotten very used to it. It's actually really sad because when you think about it, Stu, we're a country where women have won major races, Senate races. Women are in the boardroom. They're in all aspects of American life. They're in space. But yet they still tell us that women are some group of victims that need to be treated specially, or you're a sexist.
Victimology is the lingua franca of the day. But hold on a second. The president also addressed the African-American vote. Listen to what he had to say about that. Roll tape.
And so, young people, I want you to listen up. It was not that long ago that folks had to guess the number of jelly beans in a jar or bubbles on a bar of soap in order to vote. It wasn't that long ago when folks were beaten trying to register voters in Mississippi. How are we going to betray all those who worked so hard, risked everything for the vote? But if you don't vote, then you've done the work of those who would suppress your vote without them having to lift a finger.
David Webb is shaking his head. Go.
You know, I want to get extremely angry at this point, but I'll remain calm for this purpose. Obama, who thought the Warren courts didn't go far enough when it came to using the courts to impose rules out of civil rights and voting rights. The man is a pure ideologue who plays any angle. He carves people up into groups. Blacks, this is your interest. Latinos, this is your interest. Women, whites, older, younger, this is your interest, and then amalgamates you. And it won him an election. And this is pure politics that he's playing to try and get people to vote. We are not a static society. We have evolved. He says it wasn't that long ago. It was a lifetime ago and a generation ago when America turned the page on what has been a blight on the world stage, on racism, on sexism, on voting, on civil rights. We've evolved as a society. These very young people he's talking to are not that dumb. You know, a lot of them see whether you're gay, straight, black, white, or whatever as a non-issue. But he needs to sell that victimology, that you need to go a certain way or something's wrong with you.
It's so much looking at the past. It's so much dredging up some of the bad things that happened in the past and trying to project them into the future if you don't vote for me. Well, I think it's lost its sting. I think this is a change election. I think there's something going on in this country which no longer accepts these silly labels that they're chucking around.
I agree, and that is the thing. The generations change. Again, we're not static. We move forward as a society. We move forward as a culture. So they need to reinforce this. This is why they're working in the universities. This is why they have organizations out there. This is why they're supporting supporting Black Lives Matter. They need to force that victimhood back into a box. The problem with that is Americans have expanded. The black community is not a monolithic block. They live in the suburbs, the exurbs, they live in flyover country, they live in the cities. And so have all other groups across America. Hispanics better watch out. Important question. Donald Trump said, "What have you got to lose?" I've got a more important question. Before that, he should have said, "What have you gained?"
Fair point. David Webb, the impassioned historian David Webb. Seriously, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Stu.
Appreciate it. Thank you.